Oh, there we go. Okay. So, hi, my name is Lucas. You can tell by my channel, and today I'm going to talk about something I've been doing for a while now. I don't know if you guys heard of ancestry.com before. It's one of my favorite um, websites to do genealogy on because there's just such awesome people on the phone there, and I want to share with you guys my family tree from my mom's side of the family. So I'm going to have to look through it because it's somewhere in this crowd of papers from a while ago. Let's see if I can find it on the floor here in my room. Oh, here it is. I found it. Well, some of it's not accurate because I found out later on. Alright. So, trying to see if I can find, um, okay, here it is. No, wait, that's his side. Yeah, that's mine. Okay, so, I know it's kind of small to read. This is, oh, I'm trying to point to it. I'm so bad at pointing, I'm sorry. I'm not used to doing this in real life. This is Joseph Settler on the right. He was my grandfather. He passed away when I was 5 years old, so I didn't really get to know much about him because he was I was really young when he passed away. I didn't really get to hear much, but it's interesting because when I was older, I actually found out a few weeks ago that he was in World War II, which I thought was really cool. So then I found out, because my mom told me, that he had um, a mother named, I think, yeah, Rose Hyman. He had a mother named Rose Hyman who was my my mom's, was it grandmother? Yeah, grandmother, yeah, on her side of the family. And, it's sad because my mom never got to meet Rose Hyman, my great-grandma, so I feel really bad for her. And Aaron Bitter was my great, where is he? Aaron Bitter was my great-grandpa. He also then he was actually also in a world war. He was in World War I in the 1920s, I think, because he was born in Austria in I think it was it 1880s? Yeah, I think it was either in the 1880s or 1890s. He was born in Austria, so it's interesting. And then he had a sister, and I couldn't really find much on Ancestry.com about her because the record only went from 1920 to, I think there's only one 1920 record, so I'm not really sure exactly what her married name became after she got older, but her name was Clara Bitter. She would have been my trying to think here. She would have been my great she would have been my yeah, she would have been my great aunt if yeah, she would have been my great aunt, and she was born in 1893 in, I think, yeah, in Austria. She was born in Austria too, like my the rest of his family was, my great grandpa's family was. And then Aaron, he had a mother named, I found the record for her, a lot of her records online. Her name was Ludi Bitter, and the crazy thing about her is she was actually born one of the years the Civil War was going on here in America, even though she didn't live here. But I thought that was pretty cool how she was born in the 1860s. So, and she actually passed away in 1924 after my great grandma was born on my mom's side of the family. Then there's Rachel Pratzer, who was my, let me try to think this out, great, 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 grandmother, who was born in 1848. You know, I think I might know why she escaped, though, from leaving Austria in the 1800s, because I remember reading a long time ago, I won't get too much in the history part, but there was the Ottoman Empire, which was going on there, was really starting to like mash and stuff like the last 60, 70 years before it fell apart in World War One. So I remember the empire was like really, really bad, and I think a lot of people who lived in Austria escaped to America because of that. So that's my personal opinion of why I think what happened in Austria. And then Rosheim, and I'll get back to my great grandma here. She had how many siblings did she have? She had one sibling named Mando Hyman, who was born in 1895. And then she had a sister named Bella Hyman, who was one of my great great aunts, who was born in 1896. And then I had another great uncle named yeah, wait, is she my great great aunt? I'm trying to think. Wait. No, she's my great aunt, not great great aunt. She's my great aunt. And then I had another great uncle named Max Hyman, and he married a woman named oh no, I'm sorry, that was a mistake. Max Hyman was not related to me by blood, only by marriage, because Max Hyman was my great uncle, but only by marriage, because she had a sister, Rose Hyman, named Jeannie Hyman, who was born in the year 1900, and her maiden and his maiden name, which I thought was weird on the record I found for Max, but his maiden name was Kalstein. So it's funny how my name used to be Kalstein so many over 100 years ago, but I don't know. It was a popular, I think, England name or Italian name back then. And then they had a kid, Jeannie and Max, named Miriam Hyman in 1925. And I actually did find a lot of interesting stuff about her. She would have been, let's see, if they were both my great aunt and great uncle, then she probably would have been one of my great cousins, I'm guessing, because of the relationship thing. So, yeah. So, found some records. She actually lived in California for many years in the 1940s, so it was interesting. But I never found like any records, I think, about really her or anyone or her siblings. So it kind of ended there because they only have the census records on ancestry.com until 1940, and then after that, they don't have people's names come out till every 10 years. So, like in 2020, the 1950s records, no, 1960s records will then come out, which I think's weird that the government does that, but I don't know. I'm not one to say. So, then here on let me see if I have this right. Let me try this side first. Let me try Sally Settler's side first, my grandma's side. Oh yeah, this is Sally Settler, and there's actually more I found out, but I'll show that in a minute. Now this is Sally Settler, my grandma, who was born in 1925 and lived to 1986. The crazy thing about her, my mom told me about, is she actually passed away from a bee sting in my hometown where I grew up, because she grew up very close to where I lived, like in like a half hour away, and my mom was only in her like late 20s when she passed away, and she was very depressed about it because she didn't get the, because I never got to meet my grandma, so kind of sad about that. But yeah, then my great grandma, which she lived a long time. She was born in the early 1900s, and she lived for about 100 years. She was born in 1904, and then lived till 1991. And yeah, my mom told me a lot of interesting things about her. And then I had a. Oh, okay, Mom. I'm just recording a YouTube video. Yes, I'm recording a YouTube video. No, I want to record a YouTube video, Mom. I'm in the middle for other people. Then there was my relative Thomas Yerrick, which was he would have been my great, was it be great great uncle? I think, I'm not sure if it would be great uncle. Yeah, he would have been, no, he would have been my great uncle. So yeah, he was actually also a war veteran too. He served in World War II in the 1940s, which I thought was pretty cool that he went to the army in his 30s, which is interesting because, never knew that. And I know it says this wrong, but then I have my, is it, yeah, I think it's, then I have my great great grandfather, Philip Felix Yerrick, who actually came to America from Germany when he was, how old was he? I'm trying to remember from the record I saw online. He was 10 years old when he came from Germany. So, he was actually born in 1872 and lived till 1949. So he might have lived later. I'm not really sure because that's the latest census record it went to, living wise. So he might have even lived longer for all I know. He could have lived even maybe 10 or 15 years longer. So his wife actually passed away a lot sooner. Her name was, I found on a record, was Sarah Pitchford, because she came from England. Well, actually, really Wales, but I think England was Wales back then in the 1800s. So, yeah, she actually grew up in a really interesting town. She grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where they aired the show The Office for many years. She was born in 1880 and actually passed away in the town she lived in 1917 from tuberculosis, because it was a very bad disease back then. I know it doesn't say here, but I found it later on, a few months later researching. But then she had a mother named, what was her name? Yeah, Mary Pitchford, who was born in Wales in, I think in like the 1840s, around like 1848 or 1849. And it didn't show her record because there was a fire that got burned most of the records in the 1890s, so most of those records were lost. So I did find one from 1900 of um, where her mom lived, her dad lived, and her brother Reese Pitchford lived. And Reese was born, I'm trying to remember when he would have been my great great uncle if he was still alive. And he was born in like around the 1840, he was born in like the 18, I think 80s or 70s or somewhere around there. He was either, yeah, he was born in Pennsylvania, but yeah. And then he actually, I think he was also a war veteran. I'm not really sure. I didn't. You know, it's funny. Most of my relatives were actually war veterans, and I never even realized it until I was like until a few months ago. And then there was my great 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 grandfather, David Pitchford, who was born also in Wales in the 1840s or 50s. And not sure job-wise what he did, but I know he lived mainly in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and in a small town in Wales from many years ago. And I'm going to start with like part one now, guys. I would go to part two, but my mom is going to sleep, so tune in to part two tomorrow. Then I'll go over my mom's dad's side of the family. No, no, yeah, yeah, my mom's grandfather's side of the my mom's grandfather's side of the family. So, yeah. Till then, see you guys later.